Hello everybody, this is Joe from Just a Podcast Away. So let's start from the title, the name I gave to this podcast. It comes from the very first line out of one of the greatest songs ever written in pop rock history. Actually, I played a little bit with words with the lyrics of that song, because that song is Message in a Bottle. It was written by Sting and recorded by the Police in 1979, and it was the opening track and the very first single out of Brigada de Blanc, the second album by the Police. The Police was the band formed by Stewart Copeland in 1977, together with Henry Padovani at the very beginning, and then he was replaced by Andy Summers, who became the legendary guitar player of the Police and one of the greatest guitar players in the history of pop rock music. Anyway, the song was written by Sting, and it begins with the line is "Just a Castaway." Well, it was pretty easy for me to create and play a little bit with that word "castaway" and turned it into "podcast away." So it became Just a Podcast Away. Well, it doesn't have a real meaning in English, but it has a different kind of meaning, and that's what makes the content of this podcast, that is, of course, dedicated to Sting, Andy Summers, and Stewart Copeland, but actually not only. What I want to talk about in this podcast is way much more. It's about a spectrum of music that really goes beyond. Well, I think that the success of that song, Message in a Bottle, gave them the opportunity to begin an incredible musical adventure. First with the Police from 1977 to 1984, when they disbanded after the Synchronicity tour. And they reunited again for a reunion tour in 2007 and 2008. But actually, since they disbanded, they went on releasing amazing music and incredible records. The thing is that in this beautiful journey, they met a lot of other collaborators, other musicians. They played with a lot of incredible musicians and different kind of musical styles, and this is what will be the main part of this podcast. Of course, we're gonna talk about Sting's career, the past, the present, and the future. We're gonna talk about the next tour of Stewart Copeland, as well as we're gonna talk about the new records by Andy Summers. But they have played with so many people. For example, Sting has Dominic Miller on stage with him, and he's been his guitar player since 1990 when during the sessions of the Soul Cages album. But actually, Dominic Miller, he's an incredible musician, so I think it could be interesting to talk about his music as well. The same with Stewart Copeland, who played, for example, he has been on stage with one of the greatest bass players around, Armand Sabaleco. We can talk about him as well. There's a lot of music that was generated from that band, The Police, and actually that song, Message in a Bottle, is still at the center of their musical universe. Well, by listening to this podcast episode by episode, you will understand way much better what I want to do with this podcast. So you just stay tuned. I hope you will like what we're going to talk about. By the way, I want you to be part of it. I will tell you how to get in touch with me and the way you can even let us listen to your music, because some of you became musicians after listening to The Police. Me, myself, I've been a huge fan of the band since 1979, and I'm still a huge Sting fan, as well as Andy Summers fan and Stewart Copeland's fans and Dominic Miller's fan, and so many other artists that I met, that I started listening since they started collaborating with Sting and Stewart. The spectrum of the music we can talk about, it's so open, it's so wide, and this will allow us to understand better Sting's music as well as Andy's and Stewart Copeland's music. But again, just don't get it only as a Sting and the Police or Stewart and Andy Summers podcast. It's a lot more. So the thing I want to focus anyway is that song, Message in a Bottle, is still on the set list of Sting's tour. It's still on the set list of Stewart Copeland's current tour called The Police Deranged for Orchestra. That song is in there. Andy Summers plays that song in his current tour. It's a visual show. There are a lot of photographs of the band, photographs of his travels around the world, and he plays that song in his own way. So you can tell maybe this is a podcast dedicated to Message in a Bottle more than the musicians themselves. But anyway, jokes apart, it's that song and the name of this podcast are really the focus around which we can really talk about a lot of music. There is a fantastic interview in a YouTube channel dedicated to drummers. It's called Drumeo, D-R-U-M-E-O, Drumeo Official. And Stewart Copeland was interviewed a few months ago, and he talks about a lot of riffs of every song, every hit. And there is a very nice deep look at Message in a Bottle. So I do suggest everyone to go and check that interview on Drumeo on YouTube, the Drumeo Official. Hey guys from Drumeo, I'm making some ad about you, some promotion. Anyway, you will love it. You will love the all the tales that Stewart Copeland is telling in that interview. By the way, another interesting interview is the one done by Rick Beato. He did 3 interviews to Sting, Andy, and Stewart, and those are 3 amazing interviews that I do suggest everyone to take a look at. Sting wrote Message in a Bottle in between 1978 and 1979. I read a book, The Making of Quadrophenia, written by Simon Wells. In the book you can read a lot of anecdotes about Sting writing songs while he's acting in the movie. And he has a lot of demos on a tape that he listens to, and he asks to his colleagues, the other actors in the movie, to listen to the songs and say something about it, what they think about. And it's a fantastic book about the making of, let's say, the very first movie where Sting was not the main character, but probably the most important one, because he was the ace face. He was the iconic character of the movie. Jimmy is the main guy in the movie, and by the way, Quadrophenia is the story of this fight between modes and rockers in the 60s in Brighton that really happened. So the movie is about telling that story, and it was written and produced by Pete Townsend from The Who, the lead guitarist of The Who, one of the greatest band in rock history. Frank Roughton, the director of the movie, chose Sting right because of his face, because of his look, and he could be the right image to play the role of the ace face, the leader of the modes. Jimmy was the main character, so the protagonist of the movie, and he saw in Ace Face the right model, the right guide to follow and to be inspired by. I don't tell you how it ends, but I do suggest you to watch the movie. It's one of the, for me, it's one of the greatest movies about music, but also about youth culture in the 60s in the UK. But it's still something very interesting to take a look at. The Who made, of course, the soundtrack. Actually, there was already a record called Quadrophenia, so they turned it into a real movie, later on into a musical, and they kept on working on Quadrophenia in so many different ways and styles in the following decades. But let's go back to the music and the soundtrack of the movie. I do suggest you to listen to the song called Bellboy, as it reveals something in the movie. I don't want to tell you that much about it if you haven't watched the movie yet. I do suggest you to watch it, of course, and then you know why. You will know why I have chosen that song as one of the most interesting, not because of the style, but because it has a meaning in the movie. There's a Hole in My Life. That's the title I have decided to give to the discography section when I will talk about records, new releases, or maybe older releases. I will get into this section called There's a Hole in My Life, and the hole, of course, is the little hole that you find in the middle of a vinyl or in the middle of a CD. You know, for some people, for some fan, a specific vinyl, a specific release is a reason of life. By the way, I will ask some of you to participate and tell me your stories about some records, some specific releases and stuff like that. So there's a hole in my life. Let's get into the discography section. There's a brand new single by Sting with Shaggy called Till a Morning. It's a very nice single reggae song on VP Records, one of the leading independent reggae labels, one of the most important actually in the world. So they like to work together. They made a record back in 2018 called 44876. There has been a lot of debate about it because so many people said, how can you see Sting together with Shaggy? Actually, Sting replied to all of them, I like to surprise people, and they really work very well together. So it was a successful album. They won very good recognition all around the world. And they're back in the saddle again, so they like to work together. They also worked together on a Frank Sinatra album that Sting produced and Shaggy sang. Now they're back together with the single Till a Morning. Just take a look on YouTube. You can watch the video clip. It's a very nice video clip. It's all about, sound system, if you know what I mean. Reggae music, that word is at the center of the attention. But beyond that, there's a brand new album by Sting, but it's a live album. It's called Sting 3.0 Live, released on April the 12th, and it's a Record Store Day release. What is Record Store Day? Record Store Day is a day dedicated to record stores, easy to understand, and the releases of the Record Store Days goes out of catalog immediately. So you just can get it on that day. So there is no chance to reorder it if you don't find it. But anyway, try in every local record store to see if you can find it. It will not be easy, only 3,000 copies pressed. So I hope you will find your copy. Maybe you die-hard fans know how to do that, how to deal with record store days. But anyway, it's a live record with 17 live songs. And guess what? The very first one is Message in a Bottle. We're back again with Message in a Bottle as a point of reference. If you're not enough lucky to get the double disc set, you can find anyway the one disc set, the one LP or one CD, that is anyway available from the 25th of April. And it's a selection from the double disc, from the double LP for the record store day. So you're going to be happy anyway. You will get your live release from Sting wherever you want to. I mean, in every record store. You can find it on digital as well. So try to get the double disc. If you don't find it, you can find the one disc set or one LP.
Japan is the only country where you can find the double CD format. So you may even order it online, so you have the full track list on CD, thanks to the Japanese edition. So let's go back in time and let's listen to what Sting said about touring again as a trio. In an interview with Kyle Meredith, by the way, go and check his YouTube channel. It is called Kyle Meredith With. And he did a lot of interviews, very interesting interviews, including this one with Sting. Go and check it out.
I think people are surprised to see three people up there, because, I have many different configurations of bands over the years, but I haven't gone back to a three-piece since the famous one. And for me, surprise is everything. I want to surprise myself. I want to surprise the people coming to see us or listen to us. Surprise is the essence of music.
There's a brand new record by Stewart Copeland as well, released on April 18th, and it's called The Wild Concerto. And it's based on the sounds of nature and the sounds of birds, the sounds of wolves, the sounds of animals of all kinds. And those sounds were recorded by Martin Stewart. You can check his website, thelisteningplanet.com, with the whole story of his life traveling all around the world to record sounds of different kind of animals everywhere. He has an archive of something like 100,000 sounds. He collaborated with Stewart on this record that is a classical record. There's an orchestra directed by Troy Miller, who already directed some of the shows on tour of the Police Deranged for orchestra. The producer is Ricky Kay. He worked with Stewart on Police Beyond Borders, that is the world music version of the Police Deranged for orchestra. But back to Wild Concerto. It's not easy to describe the kind of work that they have done. So let's listen to Stewart Copeland, what he has to say about it.
It is the culmination of everything that I learned as a film composer, and then the years since as an opera composer, taking all that I've learned about how the orchestra works and guides emotions. And I don't have a soprano and a tenor. I've got hyena and wolves and all different kinds of birds howling away.
The very first single is called White-Throated Sparrow is Happier on the Glacier. And you can find it online. Go and check it out on the different digital stores and streaming platforms. By now there is no chance to find it on CD or vinyl. It's only available on digital. Maybe in the future, I don't know, but by now it's only on digital. Now let's move on to the past, or I should better say, back to the future. That means that we're gonna get something from the past and we'll move it into the future, or at least into the present, because there is a brand new box set by Andy Summers and Robert Fripp, including those two fantastic records they released back in 1982 and 1984. I'm talking about I Advance Masked, 1982, and Bewitched, 1984. The box set is called The Complete Recordings 1981-1984 and includes a lot more stuff than those two amazing albums. There's a third CD, for example, that is called Mother Hold the Candle Steady, that includes a lot of unreleased material. Every recording has been remixed, remastered. There's a 5.1 surround mastering, and there will be a book with a lot of information about those sessions between two of the most influential guitarists of all times. Well, we all know what Andy Summers gave to the world of guitar. The use of devices such as echoes and flangers and delays, but his main attitude was on how to play the guitar, his new vision, and that attitude is still very influential on many guitar players, not only from the past but even now, and I'm pretty sure it will be a point of reference even into the future of the world of guitar. As well as, Robert Fripp is one of the most experimental and influential guitar players since the 70s. He was part of King Crimson, that is one of the most legendary bands in prog rock. But maybe just to say prog rock is too limited, because he has done so many projects and so many things that really just to say he was only a prog rock guitar player, to me it sounds like a little bit limited. Anyway, let's go back to the box set. There will be a book, and there will be also a conversation that was recorded by then, where we can hear them improvising and talking about the project and all that kind of stuff that will give us the chance to get a bit deeper into that collaboration. Such an amazing item that I do suggest to every fan of the Police and the Summers, but in general, any fan of good music, to take a listen to and to buy it, of course.
Now let's listen to Andy himself, what he has to say about this beautiful box set.
I'm very pleased that the album that I did quite some time ago with Robert Fripp, the 2 albums, plus a new one that has not been heard before. It's coming out and it's out right now. It's called I Advanced Masked, Andy Summers and Robert Fripp. It's doing very well. And they made a very beautiful package for it, better than the original. So I'm very pleased to see this come out and that people are enjoying it again.
Sting will be back on tour on May 17th of May. He will play in Mexico at the Mexican Caribbean Music Festival in Tulum. Well, that must be such a beautiful place to be. That must be such an event. Those big festivals with a lot of people, loud music, it will be such an amazing party. I would suggest everyone to go there. I'm pretty busy, I won't be there. But anyway, let's go back to the tour. The tour will go on in Denver, Colorado at Red Rocks with 3 shows in a row. Well, that is a place where one day I want to go and see a show. I've seen so many videos of so many bands playing there. Seems like a unique place. So the US tour will finish in Phoenix on the 1st of June, and from the 6th of June, Sting will tour Europe, and we will see him all around the old continent. That means he will play in Germany, France, Italy, UK, Scotland, Poland, and a lot more. You can find all the information of a 3.0 tour on sting.com. There's the tour section, and you can find all the details to buy the tickets and all kind of information you may need to go and see Sting live on tour. As you all know, Sting will be on stage with Dominic Miller, his guitar player. I don't like to say his guitar player. Dominic Miller is an extraordinary guitar player. We call him Sting's guitar player, but actually he's an amazing artist on his own. And I do suggest you to listen to something out of his vast catalog. I really like this song that is called Do You Want Me? It's the second track on the very first solo album called First Touch. It has been also re-released last year with some bonus tracks. By the way, you can check DominicMiller.com if you want to see him live performing with his own band. And he will be on tour in the month of April, May, and early days of June. Then he will rejoin Sting on tour in Europe. Well, by the way, when Dominic is not on stage with Sting, Ben Butler takes his place. So we're going to talk about this talented musician who's been on stage with Sting quite a few times in the past. In the next few episodes of Just a Podcast Away, we will have time to talk about him as well. Okay, everybody, I think we're done with this very first episode of Just a Podcast Away. Well, a few words about me. Why am I doing this kind of stuff? I'm a huge fan of Sting and Stewart, and I'm a huge music lover. I've been working in the music business for, well, let me say something like 35 years now. Quite a long time, huh? And it's a labor of love. You can simply call it a labor of love. I just do this kind of stuff because I love to do it. And I hope you will enjoy my attitude, by the way. Also, just a few words about my friendship with Sting and Stewart. I have the privilege to work with them, with their management as well. And I did some promotion, consultancy in some cases. And so a kind of friendship grew up year by year, actually decade by decade. The first time I met Sting was 1985, so quite a long time. I was asked to write articles about them, reviews of the releases for some of the major magazines in Italy, as well as newspapers. And I've been asked to write a few books. I wrote 3 books. They're all in Italian. The latest one was released in 2018, and it's called Many Miles Away. By the way, I already translated that. It's ready in English as well. I don't know when it will be published, so I will tell you more in the future about my close encounters with Sting, Andy, and Stewart, and all my collaborations. We'll get deep into that. There are some curious episodes and anecdotes that I can tell you all. Thank you, everybody, for listening up until now. There'll be a lot more stuff in the next episode of Just a Podcast Away. By the way, check all the details on how to get in touch with me, and check the Facebook page, check the Instagram page, and all the social accounts that will be called Just a Podcast Away. Thank you, everybody.